So there are two problems, in my opinion, with CrossFit as it gets implemented in gyms. And the problems are particularly relevant to new CrossFit athletes. First problem is CrossFit games. Uh, I can't stand the games. I think they're garbage, especially given the fact that in 2024, they freaking drowned somebody in a way that was just stupid. And that's business thing, has nothing to do with the methodology. But the games, because it has the word CrossFit in it, gets associated with the methodology. So we'll come back to this in just a second and how that affects us. Second piece is within the methodology, which I love the methodology. I think it's brilliant. But for a new athlete, we call CrossFitters athletes. I'm a software developer. But so be it. New athletes in CrossFit, the constantly varied aspect presents some issues. So let's go into this deeper. First problem is the games. So when CrossFit was first being developed, the way that gyms did their workouts was not the way it gets implemented in gyms today. Today, you'll see a workout that looks something like this, where the top part is, I call it a focused part because there's usually just one thing you're doing. Maybe the coach has supersetted stuff, but generally you might come in and you're going to work on handstand push-ups, or you're going to work on a hard pull-up, or you're doing back squats. And then you have a Metcon. The Metcon is the actual CrossFit workout. That used to be what you did at your gym. So you would show up at a gym and, constantly varied. So you might show up and the common thing is you'd show up and it's, oh, we're going to work up and we're going to do heavy back squats. We're going to do a 5x5 back squat. Okay, you got 1 hour, which is perfect if you're going to do a heavy back squat, because you're going to warm up, then you're going to work up to the weight, to your working weight. You're going to do your 5x5 with 1 minute to 2 minutes, 3 minutes tops, rest between sets. So just the rest for 5 sets. If you're resting 2 minutes, that's 10 minutes of your hour just to rest between sets. And then, you have time to cool back down, stretch, do any mobility work, things like that. So that'd eat up your hour. Or you show up and you might have a 4 rounds for time, or an AMRAP, or an EMOM, and you warmed up for that, and then you proceeded to go through. And you had time within that hour if you needed to work on a skill, which we're going to get to. But anyway, the games comes along and people are like, oh, well, I want to do what the games athletes are doing. What are they doing? And it's like, oh, well, this is what the gyms ended up implementing to be like the games. And the problem is you're not a games athlete. And you don't want to be a games athlete. Like I said, from my perspective, all you do as a games athlete is work out. You're spending that's your full-time job. Maybe you coach a little bit, but all of your time is spent working out. And that's all you can do, really. I would much prefer the old way where, the dudes, ladies, and gentlemen showing up to compete in the games had full-time jobs. They were taking vacation, teachers, policemen, military people, firemen, all of this type of stuff. It's like, I'm taking vacation to show up and compete at the games. It's not, oh, this is just my full-time job and this is how I pay my rent. No. Honestly, don't care. I like the open, don't care about the games. Anyway, but this is bled into the gyms, and so the gyms end up not really implementing CrossFit. They're trying to be, I don't know what they're trying to be. The next part then comes into this is the constantly varied. So if you're trying to develop a skill, you're trying to work on doing pull-ups, you're trying to do pistols, double unders, handstand push-ups, all of these different things that, the amount of time it takes to master doing a back squat 10-15 minutes with a good coach, watch a couple of YouTube videos, and I guarantee you can do great back squats. Yeah, there's maintenance stuff you got to do, but learning how to back squat 10-15 minutes. Developing good pull-ups, and then developing good strict pull-ups, there's a lot of strength. It takes a lot of time. And then there's skill. If you're going to do kipping pull-ups, which everybody hate, if you're not a CrossFitter, you're like, oh my God, those are no reps. And it's like, right, I watch you guys in normie gym. You don't even get your chin over the bar. I don't want to hear about no reps. But the thing is, you might see pull-ups the first week of March, and you don't see them again until May. Well, how are you supposed to develop a pull-up if you're a new athlete? Now, if you already have pull-ups and you've got the pulling strength to perform them, it's not a big deal. The constantly varied is no big deal. But if your only time in the gym is at CrossFit and they keep rotating the stuff, it's going to take forever to develop these things. And so what do you do to fix this? Well, one, like I do, I go to a regular gym in the morning and I work on whatever I want. I program for myself and I work on things at the normie gym. And then in the afternoon, I come to CrossFit for another workout, which this workout is more actually doing stuff. Whereas what you're doing at the normie gym, I lift heavy and, well, heavy for me, but I do that stuff there. But another problem you have, for instance, double unders, one of my favorite things. You get in there and a couple of things happen. Coaches will take and say, oh, if you don't have double unders, just double the number of double unders and do that many single unders. That is not going to get you to doing double unders. It'll get you very good at single unders, which is important. But at a certain point where you can string 50 to 100 single unders unbroken, it's time to quit that. You're done. It's time to start doing double unders. And where the coaches mess this up, in my opinion, is, you'll have a workout where they've programmed and said, there's 30 double unders, which 30 double unders is, for somebody who's efficient, it's like 30 seconds of work. As a coach, which, well, yeah, I have a level 1, I'm going to do a level 2. I'm not a coach, I'm a consultant. But if I was in that position, well, as a consultant, observing what's going on, I would advise the coach to say, look, if you don't have double unders, you're going to get penalized in this workout, which you should. And I want you to take a minimum of 1 minute and I want you to work on double unders. And I might even say 2 minutes, because here's the problem. At my gym, we might see double unders once a week. Sometimes it's every other week. Well, at that rate, and in a 20-minute workout, you might have the opportunity 2-3 times to work on those double unders, and you've been advised to work on it for 1 minute. Well, that's 3 minutes in a week to work on a skill. It's going to take you years to master that skill at that rate. The whole idea of 10,000 hours, you're going to take 10,000 years. Well, so it's like, okay, I'm going to modify the workout. If you as an athlete come to me and say, hey, I want to get double unders, I'm going to modify the workout to rearrange it for you so that you develop that skill. And I would say doing the same thing for handstand push-ups, pistols, any of the stuff that really takes skill. It's like, okay, yes, the workout has an intended stimulus, but sometimes as a coach, you should say, you know what, for this group, we're going to throw that intended stimulus out. And our intended stimulus here is you develop this skill, which is going to pay dividends down the road. So, you don't have handstand push-ups. I want you to spend 2 minutes kicking to the wall. If you get to the point that you're kicking to the wall, I want you to kick to the wall 5 times or 10 times until it's just bam, you're on the wall. Or pistols. I want you doing shrimp squats. I want you to progress, but I want you to spend this amount of time. Yeah, it's a 15-minute AMRAP, but each round I want you to spend 1 minute doing pistol, or working on your pistol, whether it's doing a shrimp squat or some variation that's going to lead you down the road to having a pistol. So those are the two things. The games, just so much of the games have had such a huge, wow, it got dark, have had a big impact on how gyms implement CrossFit. And it's, in my mind, I make jokes about it because I'm like, CrossFit's like communism, because none of the gyms really do CrossFit. It's, it's not really CrossFit. And it's like, really? But, the methodology in and of itself, if you use that, constantly varied functional movements executed at high intensity, doing that will get you in amazing shape. But the problem is when you start introducing skills that, skills that have to be developed, then you have to make some accommodations with that constantly varied to help new athletes to develop that skill. Anyway, I don't know if I'm making any sense here. And I doubt you're still listening. But if you are, could you give me a like and a subscribe? That'd be awesome. I'll be back later. You have a good one.